Next to the Middle East, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has urged Iran to refrain from attacking Israel. His comments in a phone call with the new Iranian president are part of a wider diplomatic push to prevent any escalation in the region. The White House has warned Iran could launch what it describes as a significant attack on Israel as soon as this week. It's rushing an aircraft carrier strike group and a guided missile submarine to the region in a show of support for Israel. Iran and the group it backs in Lebanon, Hezbollah, have both vowed to avenge last month's killing of Hamas political leader Ismail Haniyeh and a top Hezbollah commander. As the military and diplomatic pressure increases, top US diplomat Antony Blinken is scheduled to travel to the Middle East on Tuesday. Well, our Middle East correspondent Hugo Bashega is standing by for us in Beirut. Hi Hugo, talk us through this phone call, what we know about it with UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer.
Yeah, Louis, so it was a rare phone call between the UK Prime Minister and an Iranian president. The last time a phone call between the two leaders happened was in 2021. So it shows the seriousness of the situation. The British Prime Minister saying that there was the risk of miscalculation and that now was the time for careful consideration. Now, there has been a response from Iran. This morning, the Iranian state news agency reported that the Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian told the Prime Minister that Iran sees a response to the assassination that happened in Iran as the solution to stopping crime and aggression. And he also said that the support of some Western countries for Israel is irresponsible. So some strong words there from the Iranian president in their phone call that happened yesterday with the British Prime Minister. And again, part of this huge coordinated diplomatic effort from Western countries to try to de-escalate tensions with Iran. Iran has promised to retaliate following the killing of Ismail Haniyeh, the Hamas political leader in Tehran 2 weeks ago. Both Iran and Hamas blame Israel for this assassination. And as you said, there are concerns here in Lebanon that Hezbollah, the powerful militia backed by Iran, could also be planning a wide-scale attack on Israel in response to the assassination of a senior Hezbollah commander here in Beirut. So real concerns that an escalation of hostilities could lead to a wider regional conflict. Now, the Americans again are saying that they're going to do everything to protect Israel. They're sending more military assets to the region. And the hope here is that a ceasefire in Gaza could help de-escalate tensions here. Talks are expected to happen on Thursday, but I think there is very little hope that any kind of major progress can be reached.
Okay, Hugo, thank you very much for that. Hugo Bashega there. Right, with Hugo just mentioning there the war in Gaza. We're going to get the latest, an update on the situation in the ground on Khan Yunis from Médecins Sans Frontières project coordinator Jacob Granger. Thank you very much for coming on the programme.
Thank you, Lewis.
So we've just touched on the wider geopolitics in the region, but we want to just get a sense of what is happening on the ground. What are the conditions, for example, in Khan Yunis like right now?
The conditions in Khan Yunis are quite bad, needless to say. So since several weeks, there are more and more evacuation orders that are issued by the Israeli forces, and it's a little bit restraining the space of the so-called humanitarian zone. So a zone that is supposed to be safe. So despite the status of humanitarian zone, we observe that there are some airstrikes within the zone, and second, some evacuation order shrinking the zone. So the effects. Sorry, the effects that it
so
has,
on that, the shrinking of that zone. What about getting aid and supplies into those areas?
So for the aid, it's depending on the supply. So we have shortage of some of the items, quite complicated to get in for many reasons. Also, any reason of the security situation within the Gaza Strip. And then for the 8, we are trying to develop some coping strategies. So by example, for the dressings, we are going to reduce the number of dressing instead of doing 2 every, 4 days. We are going to do only 1 change of dressing every 4 days. This is just an example.
And that clearly puts your staff, aid workers under immense pressure and obviously compromises the care that people can receive. What about, as far as you know, in the rest of Gaza? Is it similar challenges, basically having to be sparing with the supplies that you've got?
Yes, it's more or less the same in entire Gaza. And what is really important to understand is that everyone is affected by this. So our staff, as the rest of the population, meaning that when there are this evacuation order, so there was one in the eastern part of Khan Yunis, this 8th of August, and another one 2 or 3 days after the 10th of August. And the 2 evacuation order had for consequences that a lot of people had to go west, had to be displaced. So estimation from UN agency would be around 70,000 on the 8th and another maybe 50,000 2 days after, which is a lot on this area that is already densely populated, quite small, and it has some effects both on the sanitary situation on the Gaza Strip, but also on the mental health of the population here.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming on the programme and talking us through that, explaining the circumstances under which you're operating there in Khan Yunis and indeed across Gaza. Thank you.
You're welcome.